If the world's the only world I know, but you rescued me and brought me back.
Coach's Corner with Coach Heck and the infamous Coach Patrick King. You're stuck with me, man.
I'm stuck.
You are stuck with me. I ain't going anywhere.
There's a lot of people that are jealous of me for sitting here, and there's some people that there's a little sympathy going on at the same time.
There's more people that are sympathetic to you. I'm just saying that much right now. As a matter of fact, if I needed a vasectomy, I might get one this weekend.
Oh, I forgot those commercials.
But I don't even need a vasectomy. And just remember what Ron Hecklinski said today. And you ain't that good. The scouting report said you were pretty good. You ain't that good. Oh, man. Are you kidding me? Well, the most favorite part of my day is those 30 seconds.
30 seconds, you like that, huh?
No, that's when we banter.
Yeah.
We banter back and forth, man.
It's accumulation of it, yep.
Yeah, welcome our listeners, our loyal people that tune into us through our YouTube, our broadcastsport.net, our Instagram, Facebook Live, our whatever it is. Thanks for tuning in, man, because we're just a couple old ball coaches, man.
Luckily, we've got some people that know more technology than we do.
Well, and we're just, we just chat it up a little bit. We share our opinion on some stuff. We make fools out of ourselves a lot of times here.
Yeah, and you think our technology involves back in the day, we could load a 16-millimeter camera with a game film.
Yes, I couldn't.
We could copy tapes from VCR to VCR.
I could do that
back in the day, and
we could break down tapes, cut them up.
Yeah,
from VCR to VCR. Like if I was doing a personnel tape on a kid, I could write the numbers down on the VCR, which might be 1,157 would be this clip. And then I'd go through and write all his clip numbers down and then go all the way back and fast forward to those clips.
Have a second recorder.
It's crazy, man.
Things we went through. I know. Well, welcome, everybody. We are at Bar Louie on a freezing rain, cold night. We've got about, at least a foot of snow left over from the weekend. And tonight's going to be interesting up here. I know a lot of the schools are already closed for tomorrow. We're sitting here looking out the window. There goes a second fire truck someplace down Cleveland Road. So something's going on. And we're hoping that maybe the weather will cooperate and get us home here in 2 hours. But Bar Louie's, been hosting us, been a great place to be. We've got all of our other sponsors to thank, and we're here again. Tonight we're going to talk football. We're going to talk some college basketball, and we're going to talk some high school basketball as well if we have a chance.
Yeah, and hopefully we're going to get a couple callers, maybe Jimmy Shannon, maybe Pete Smith checking in, maybe the great Joey Bradburn, who's the head coach of Mount Vernon, trying to get him online. Checking in. But before we start, let me first talk about one of our main sponsors, Tony Letcher at Health Markets. Thanks to Tony Letcher with Health Markets Insurance. Whether you need help with your health insurance or Medicare, it's time you get the right coverage for the right price. Call Tony at 574-307-8882. And there you see him on your screen. He is a John Adams 1995 graduate.
He is, and I need to get with him and figure out what I need to do for insurance for my wife if she wants to retire at 62. We need some of that gap insurance to figure out, what we can do for insurance between ages 62 and 65. So I probably need to get with him and other people. That's something you could talk with him as well.
Yeah, and I'm
on my make it over there, Heck?
I'm on my third antibiotic, man. I'm on my third. I mean, seriously, I was on Tamiflu. I was on one 10 days ago. Now I'm on another one today. And believe it or not, it has gotten better. I've been able to sleep a little bit, but every now and then the mucus, the phlegm.
I'm risking life and limb here sitting next to him, by the way, in several different directions. Well, here, let me throw one out for you. Tomorrow morning, I get to start my chemotherapy for my face. This time next week, I may have a purple face, not a blue face, but you people that have had to deal with all the skin stuff, They said I got too many spots on my face to freeze them, so I get to do that. It was either the blue light or the cream, and I'm going to try the chemo cream. So it takes me 10 days.
Wait a minute, you scared me for a minute when you said chemotherapy.
Well, it's a chemo treatment for precancerous.
Are you going to lose your hair or anything like that?
No, I'm going to cut. I got a barber. I'm going to the barber tomorrow. I'm going to get it cut as short as I can.
I don't even go anymore. My shit just falls out.
Yeah. Oh,
my lettuce just falls out.
You know what? And think about people. That's a moment. If Heck doesn't have his hair, you think about the last years, all that hair back here in the back. The mullet ain't a mullet. It's more of a mullet.
It's moss. Let's just call it moss. But anyway, I hate to do this commercial when you just start telling me you're on chemotherapy.
No, I'm good. I hate to do
Speaking of chemotherapy, Hahn Funeral Homes.
Hahn Funeral Home.
The loss of a loved one can leave you with lots of unanswered questions and stress. At Hahn Funeral Homes in Mishawaka, we're here to help. Our focus has always been on the families that we serve. Please get a hold of the great people at Hahn Funeral Home at 574-255-1474. And any questions that you have, they are just wonderful, wonderful people, and they will answer anything that you have. So those are two huge commercials or two huge sponsorships that we have.
Exactly.
Along with
all of
several other
Bar Louie here. We might as well let Pete talk football with us.
Man.
Yeah.
Put him in here, Scott.
Right. Before I do, email us, indcoachescorner@gmail.com. Leave a comment in the YouTube chat, or text us. Just text. Don't call us. The one phone that we normally use for the hotline is currently being used as the camera. So text us 214-945-4134.
We are a high-class place here.
And here he is. It's Pete Smith.
Bar Louie is a high-class place.
It's just the way we run things, and Pete's going to get an education here on how not to do things.
I'm going to say this, Pete, and you know this. I've got friends in low places, man, right?
You do. Can you hear me?
Oh, man, you sound awesome, man.
Well, it's not my first rodeo.
Yeah, exactly.
I know. I mean, in the Indianapolis area and around the state of Indiana, the number of games that you're calling is phenomenal. And obviously you're like us, man. We've been doing this our whole life, right? And so just because they put a headset on you, it's nothing because you're talking hoops.
Yeah, but you've had more experience because even when you were coaching, I used to be on your show in Anderson and had a lot of fun talking with you. Good to see you guys. It's great to see you guys still talking hoops, even though you're semi-retired from the game, but you're never retired. You know that.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great and a valid point to make. So we're going to start off talking some football here for a few minutes here, Pete. And I mean, obviously, you're a sports guy, whether it's football, baseball, basketball. The Chiefs and the Bills, hell of a game, right?
That was a big. I guess. Pete, are you on a time schedule? I know you just ran in from a meeting.
I'm good. I'm
do you
good.
need to be anywhere? Oh, perfect. Well, this will work. This will work great then.
Yeah, at about 7:30, we're going to start talking high school basketball, and so I mean the Chiefs and the Bills game. Well, what a game! 27-24, and you talk about Patrick Mahomes. Now he's been in the league 6 years,
right?
He's been in 6 conference championship games. Now I don't know. I don't know going down the pike, will his career mirror Tom Brady's, because that's just an unbelievable career, the number of championships. But Patrick Mahomes is an unbelievable quarterback, right?
He sure is. And, one of the things I thought was interesting was they hid the people that had been having issues. For example, the wide receivers. The wide receivers have been getting picked on all season about can't catch the ball. Well, they didn't throw the ball to him very often. They threw the ball to Kelsey, and Kelsey decided to have a game. Yeah, and their defense stepped up. And they did. It was back and forth, but they answered the bell every time Buffalo scored. They came back and they figured out a way to score.
So why wouldn't Travis Kelsey have a game? Not only is he amazing, he's got Miss America or everybody's darling in the suite cheering for him, right, Pete?
Yeah, but why why do they let him get the ball so easy? They missed him on the one touchdown pass. I mean, you guys game plan a lot in the sports that you coach, particularly basketball. And a lot of times, like Purdue's finding out, teams aren't going to let Edey beat you. And to your point, Pat, Coach, you know, in the middle of the year, I'm a Chiefs fan, a closet Chiefs fan, because I enjoy watching them play. I like what they try to do. And their receivers were dropping balls, or they're lining up off sides. the one game.
Right. I remember that.
So, I mean, they didn't really try to take Kelsey out of the game. That just kind of surprised me for as high a level coaching as they have. But
yeah, no. So I think going into that game, exactly what you're talking about. I mean, they put the best corner, they put the best safety on player A, player B. I would put the best pass defender, and I don't care who it is, on Travis Kelce, right?
Well, and as an old quarterback, one of the things I thought they did a great job of was hiding him and moving him around in different sets. And whether it was motion with somebody else, they were showing motion to see what coverage that the other team might be in, see who was covering who. And a lot of it, just like basketball, it was about matchups, Pete.
Yeah,
you know, they got him in bad matchups or good matchups for themselves, bad matchups for Buffalo. And, you know, he's going to go across the middle. He's not going out to the edges. And but I think he just got some bad matchups on coverages and got himself open.
Yeah, they were in trips on the touchdown pass, and obviously that means two guys have to communicate as to how that's going to happen, and they just neither one communicated on when he made the cut to the end zone, and they both flared out. And you know, credit Kansas City, they were ready for anything the Bills threw at them.
Yeah, and so you talk about communication. I mean, trips is the same thing of setting a double screen in basketball or setting screens in basketball where you're going to talk them out and you're going to switch them, right?
Right.
You're going to switch that. And we look at it and it's so simple. We think it's so simple because two guys come together. Mm-hmm. We ain't fighting it anymore. I mean, talk it out and switch it.
You got to switch it. And that's why the subtle picks that they're setting, they call them rubs. And,
yeah, they're not subtle and they're not picks.
No, well, and they showed one of them where the guy actually went around behind, like he trailed the guy, like in basketball. He went around behind. He went second man over the screen, so to speak.
And what would the shooter do?
They didn't step out in the head.
Yeah, and what the shooter would do would step backwards and take the J over the screen.
Well, that's basically what they were doing. They were using basketball pick and roll, pick and pops to get people open.
Yeah, I think Buffalo. Josh Allen is a great QB. Also, 26 for 39, 186 yards. He brings that other element to the game of being able to run the ball in very specific situations. But the kicker, man, Tyler Bass, you got to make that 44-yard kick.
That ball went right in a hurry. There must have been a lot of wind. He would have had to aim at the left upright, maybe left to the left upright to get that thing in, because that wind took that thing. Which way am I pointing? Right to left, left to right, whichever way it was.
Yeah, and so now the Chiefs will travel to Baltimore. And man, do I like the Ravens. I think John Harbaugh is a great coach, and I think he's a great communicator. His players love him. I don't think there's any of that negative stuff towards him through either fan bases or anything like it is against his brother Jim.
I know, and the one thing they did, Pete, was against Houston. They jumped on Houston early and stepped on their throat and didn't let go.
Yeah, I think the week off they had with the bye week really had them extremely well prepared, rested up. And I tell you, Jackson, he's just grown into such a great leader. He was a guy that didn't want to be a leader a few years ago, and now he really gets it. And they respond to him. They respond to Harbaugh and that coaching staff. And having the home field makes a huge difference.
Yeah. Yes, it does. Now, Lamar Jackson, 16 for 22, 152 yards, 2 TDs, but more importantly, 11 rushes for 100 yards. So all of us hometown Chicago Bear fans, Pete, we have this great vision, this great image.
Here we go.
Could this be Justin Fields? I mean, why couldn't Justin Fields be Lamar Jackson? And that's our hope. Why do the Bears have to entertain drafting another quarterback like Caleb Williams? and make the trades and get 100 picks like supposedly they could get, right?
You give me a week to find out. Matt Eberflus lived about 7 houses down from where I live before he went to the Bears. He lived at Westfield where I live now, and from that standpoint, we're hoping Richardson's going to be that way for the Colts because he's got that same kind of triple threat type of position. I agree. I don't know why they're thinking about doing that when they can get so much more and just maybe Fields will stay healthy. We're all worried about Richardson down here in Indianapolis getting hurt a lot because he doesn't really know when to stop. He got hurt on the one play this year because he let up and started doing a touchdown celebration, or he would have played a lot more games this year. So Fields is the same way with you Bears fans. And I growing up in Rochester, Indiana.
I know you were.
A Bears fan.
I know Gale Sayers. I know Walter Payton. I know.
Pete, we made it 5 minutes, Pete, before we got this thing on the Bears. I was really happy.
But here's the main question here. Okay, here's the question. When I watch Jordan Love, when I watch Jared Goff, when I even watch Kirk Cousins, I always ask, I ask myself, can Justin Fields make those throws that Jordan Love makes? And I always come away saying, no. I don't think he can make those plays. Now, can Caleb Williams make those plays? Probably. So I think there's a tremendous dichotomy there of how that scenario gets issued.
You got to remember, Jordan Love had a few years as pretty good understudy to learn how to make those plays and how to throw off his back foot. Now he looks so similar to Rodgers, particularly in their win in their first round game. My gosh, he looks so much like him. And Justin Fields hasn't had much opportunity to be an understudy. He was thrown right into the fire.
Yeah,
two different worlds.
And I can't agree with you more. I mean, Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers to Jordan Love. Those guys sit back and they watch Hall of Famers do their thing.
Well, and who are the Bears bringing in? They're bringing in the Seattle Seahawks offensive coordinator. I read that today.
Yeah, Shane Walden. He resurrected Geno Smith. You know what I say? Who cares? I don't care. Geno who?
Oh.
My neighbor in South Bend was Geno Benicki. He resurrected Geno Benicki.
Oh Lord.
Or Geno Smith. Come on.
I think the Bears just need to keep their quarterback, and spend that money on the supporting staff.
No,
get them some linemen.
Oh man,
get some wide receivers. Spend the money that way on 5 or 6 other people instead of going out and get another.
Yeah, no, those trades they're talking about are incredible, and it sets them up again next year to have 2 or 3 first round picks again.
Right.
And so that's the big question. So Kansas City goes to Baltimore.
Right.
Who you got in that game?
Oh, I haven't thought that far yet.
Well, I know who Pete has. Pete has Kansas City.
No, I have Baltimore. I really think Baltimore is really clicking right now. I would, if I was a betting man, I would bet on Baltimore at home. The rabid fans they have, and I know Buffalo had rabid fans, but they were missing a lot of players last night. That defense was really struggling last night, and then they kept getting injured even more. So I got the Baltimore for that game on Saturday.
All right, so if we don't get the job done, I'm going to bite your kneecaps off.
Oh, stop!
I'm biting your kneecaps, says the great Dan Campbell.
Oh.
But here's the deal. A lot of coaches talk some shit, right? But Dan Campbell backs it up. And I love what he's done at Detroit. And, they make that trade for Matt Stafford. They bring in Jared Goff.
Right.
Everybody says Jared Goff is done. He ain't done. He throws – if Jared Goff gets time, he's 30 for 43, 287 yards, 2 TDs. Jahmyr Gibbs – I think Detroit is playing as well as any team in the playoffs now.
Well, and Jared Goff is not one of these star names that comes in and can throw it all over the yard. He's more of I would call a field general, facilitator type quarterback that gets everybody involved. And, he's the team quarterback, so to speak.
Well, he's got great time. Sam Laporte is a great
he has
tight
people around him. People,
St. John.
Yeah, unless you're a Lions fan, they're no names to most people. So But you're right. The Lions are playing really well. And the problem is they've got to go to San Francisco.
Yeah. And so people, I don't know, the last 6 years, maybe, people have always wanted to bury Baker Mayfield. They've always wanted to bury him, man. He can't do this. He can't do that. I mean, he goes 26 for 41 for 349. Now, I know Detroit's secondary stinks. I understand that. But I just kind of like what Baker Mayfield brings to the game.
He just wins.
And the toughness, right?
He just wins. And, I still will say that I think most of the things that were said about Baker Mayfield is media created. It's somebody looking for a story for the last 5 or 6 years.
He was in the commercials for 100 years himself. So he kind of created that. What's your thought on Baker, Pete?
I love him. The 2 picks got him in trouble yesterday. He threw 2 picks, and you just can't turn the ball over in the playoffs. Sometimes you get away with it in the regular season, but in the playoffs, they just really multiply. But I like him. I've always liked him. The poor guy had to live in the football stadium for a year there in Cleveland.
I used to love those commercials. Hey, honey, lock the room, lock the door, honey. And he's sitting in the 90th row. I love those. I love those commercials.
But one of the things I was going to mention too, you look at the statistics on the Green Bay game. Green Bay did everything but win that game out at San Francisco the other day. Statistically, if you wouldn't have seen the scoreboard, you would have thought they won the game because they did everything but win. Problem was they couldn't finish the game.
Yeah, and I mean, you're talking about the 49ers, man. The 49ers are just a great football organization. I mean, Shanahan just does a great job. They draft well. They needed a running back, so they don't go out and get some buster. They go out and get Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, two turnovers, though, Heck. Again, same way. Jordan.
No, I agree. I mean, 2 safety passes, 2 interceptions.
Well, a lot of that was second half, wasn't it, Pete? In the first half, they were trading scores, and then I saw something go up on the screen where Green Bay's last 4 possessions were interception, punt, interception.
Yeah, you can't do that in the playoffs.
And the 2 picks got caught up to them, but boy, they were way ahead of schedule this year. They had the youngest team in the league, and they really turned around at the end of the year. Their receiving core is great.
So everybody says we got to get this quarterback receivers. We got to get this quarterback receivers. They got 5th round picks. They got a 2nd round pick, Christian. The great athletic guy. They got guys you've never heard of, Bo Melton, but they just practice. They get chemistry, and Mike LaFleur is a great coach.
Matt LaFleur, Mike's his twin brother.
Yeah. LaFleur is a great coach.
Last week we had Steve Montana playing in the 77 Cotton Bowl.
Great. No, LaFleur's a great coach. Would you agree?
Oh, I think he does a great job. McCarthy's the one I can't figure out how he's still got a job, but that's just me.
Yeah. No, I agree. You
guys have talked about that, I'm sure.
Yeah,
but it's history because Jerry Jones stays with coaches. I mean, Jason Garrett was a coach there for 9 years or 10 years, and he stays with guys longer than what he probably should stay with them.
Yeah, Pete, 2 weeks ago I was down in Dallas for a Jimmy King thing. They dedicated the gym for Jimmy King.
That.
And I heard that's all. After the game, we went out for a snack and everything. Didn't hear a thing about Jimmy. All they wanted to talk about was the Cowboys and Jimmy Johnson. The curse is over. We're going to the Super Bowl. That's all I heard. And then that. So
how about them Cowboys, man? How about them Cowboys? Yeah, but Jimmy Johnson and those boys. I mean, those guys were great. Jimmy Johnson and those guys were freaking great, man. Troy Aikman, they were great.
Yes, they were.
Oh, I loved them, man. I loved them. So now you got the Lions going to San Francisco.
Yeah, that's the late game.
And obviously you got San Francisco, right, Pete?
I'm sorry, say again.
I said obviously you got San Francisco, right?
Is Debo? What did they say about Debo Samuels today? Because they were not very good when Debo got hurt.
Yeah, he's a 50-50 right now on Monday. So we'll see. Yeah. Of course, that's a coach talking too. That's not the doctor talking.
Yeah, he is such a concern for the defense. if he's not in the lineup, they're completely different because he can run the ball, he can catch the ball. Hey, he's a total wide receiver player. But if he is healthy, I think you got to go with the 49ers. I appreciate the year the Lions have had. That's hard for you to say, Heck. I know being a Bears fan, but
no, I do too. I do too.
And who made the last interception there for the Lions? Who saved the game?
It wasn't Kendall Vildor, was it?
Derek Barnes from Purdue.
Oh yeah, Derek Barnes, 55, the linebacker.
Yeah, Derek Barnes. So you
That's
got two
amazing.
Purdue guys, stud defensive players in these championship games. You got Karlaftis over at Kansas City, who gets better. This is his second year. He's doing awesome. And Derek Barnes was great on Sunday, and his first pick ever in the league. And what a great time to do it.
Yeah, it's good timing.
No, it's amazing that Purdue's got NFL football players in the league, man.
They put players out there.
Stop it. I love that.
Oh,
Hey, listen, Scott, why don't you take us to a commercial break here? And when we come back, then we will get on hoops and talk about Indiana high school hoops, talk about some college hoops in the state of Indiana. Make sure you hang with us, Pete.
All right, well, I'm going nowhere.
Okay.
Andy Kern is a real estate broker with Weichert Realtors, Jim Dunfee and Associates. The office is locally owned but has big company resources behind it that many smaller real estate offices just don't have. Whether you're selling your fifth house or buying your starter home, Andy can help. He has 6 years of real estate experience and is a lifelong St. Joe County resident. Jim Dunfee and Associates has decades of local experience. Call or text broker Andy Kern at 574-386-4479 for great local service. He is the Colonel. James Carpenter is a real estate broker with Weichert Realtors, Jim Dunfee and Associates. The office is locally owned, but it has big company resources behind it that many smaller real estate offices just don't have. Whether you're selling your fifth house or buying your starter home, James can help. James is a South Bend lifer and has 6 years of real estate experience. Jim Dunfee and Associates has decades of local experience. Call or text broker Jim Carpenter at 574-292-CARP. That's 292-2277 for great local service. Frick's Driving School has been named the best driving school in Michiana. Frick's was started in 1960 and is located on Edison Road in Mishawaka. If your child is 15, you can get them started at Frick's. There are multiple instructions available for your driving lessons. Check out the broadcastsport.net main page and click on the Frick's icon to get more information. There you can find out more information and instructions to enroll your new driver. Frick's Driving School, a proud sponsor of Coach's Corner on broadcastsport.net.
Chiropractic and Wellness Center. When your body needs somebody to help.
Hello, I'm Dr. Kaurich, and I want to invite you to stop by my office on Cleveland Road in South Bend, just east of Portage Avenue. I've been serving Michiana for over 20 years, specializing in back pain, neck pain, headaches, naturally with gentle chiropractic care. Come see me for a free consultation.
Kaurich Chiropractic and Wellness Center. When your body needs somebody to help.
Oh, man. Are you kidding me? No, I am not kidding you, man. We are back for, I don't know, the next 40 minutes talking hoops. But before we get into that, let me mention a couple of our big-time sponsors. Tony Letcher over at Health Markets Insurance. Whether you need help with your health insurance or Medicare, it's time you get the right coverage for the right price. Call Tony today at 574-307-8882 or visit his website at tletcher.com. And here's what I've been thinking about, man. You know, I'm still teaching, so I don't need Medicare or anything like that. Right. But I'm thinking to stop teaching and maybe do what you do. You know, go over to Elkhart, do some sub and get paid, $1 million a day to go to Elkhart.
Right. Okay.
And sub and So the first place I'm heading is to see Tony Letcher and get this Medicare thing rolling. Hahn Funeral Home, and obviously, man, it's a hard thing, man. The loss of a loved one can leave you with lots of unanswered questions and stress. At Hahn Funeral Homes of Mishawaka, we're here to help. Our focus has always been on the families that we serve. Get a hold of Pat Hahn and all of his great people at Hahn Funeral Home at 505 West A Street in downtown Mish. You can call them anytime at 574-255-1474. And we'll see if Pete can get this. So
Oh,
so
no.
we'll see if Pete can get this. What did one casket say to the other casket, Pete?
Oh, I don't want to kill so much time. I don't know.
Is that you coughing? Is that you coughing? Got it, Pete.
Sorry, Pete.
No, I got to do it, man.
Sorry,
I got to
Pete.
do it.
Scott, I'm going to finish up with Frick's Driving School. Matter of fact, I'm supposed to drive this week. They're looking for more drivers. They've got so much business. So you can get hold of them. You can see the number here at the bottom of the screen, 574-256-0650. And to go to that, Scott, I need my little car because we're going to do the Frick's Road Team of the Week before we go on to.
I love that.
What do you think of that, Pete? Only the best, huh?
Boy, I love it. I love it.
Road game of the week. All right, Coach King, what you got, man?
Well, we've got to go with last night's football game, and you've got to, Kansas City goes into Buffalo and wins, which a lot of people didn't think that could happen. You had people throwing snowballs at each other. You had 3 feet more feet of snow, and but Kansas City did it. So Kansas City's my road team of the week.
Yeah, I think that's a great choice. I think is the great Jimmy Shannon on yet?
We'd see his picture down there in a minute.
The great Jimmy will be on in a minute. Hey, Pete, IU, man, at 12-7, 2-5 in the Big Ten. But I think the thing that is most disturbing to people is maybe how some of the players are getting jammed up a little bit. Xavier Johnson gets in a little bit of a scuffle, gets ejected at Rutgers against Wisconsin. CJ Gunn gets in the same kind of a deal and gets ejected. And a lot of the talking heads have mentioned how when these players are getting escorted out of the game, they're laughing, how Woody's kind of not in control maybe. I don't know, but I don't think it's a good look for IU. And when they let go of Tom Crean, I mean, Tom Crean had his pulse on the program. I don't think he ever saw that. And you never really saw that when Coach Knight was there. I mean, I don't know if it's just when things ain't going good, it gets magnified or whatever, but I don't think that's a great look for the Hoosiers. Do you?
No, and they're not 2-5 in the Big Ten, though. They've got at least 3 wins or 4 wins.
No. Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah,
they're 4-4 in the Big Ten.
Yeah, I thought they had 4.
Yeah.
It's puzzling. I have a small piece of it, obviously, because Mark Galloway was my assistant coach at Penn and then at Carmel, so I can remember when Trey was growing up. So I'm really pulling for IU from that standpoint. You remember, I grew up on the other side since I brought up Derek Barnes and Purdue, but from that standpoint, I'm a little shocked as what's been happening. As you kind of referred to, Brian Evans went on a talk show last week and just really had a lot of blunt things to say about being a former IU player and seeing what's happening. And then CJ gets the foul, which I'm not sure it should have been as bad as it was, but there didn't seem to be any remorse. And CJ's kind of always had that when he played at Lawrence North for Coach Kiefer. His senior year, I don't know if you remember, he got 2 tees in the last regular season game and missed the first sectional game. Thank goodness.
I do remember that, yeah.
They played Tech, so they had an easier game. And then he had 39 in the sectional semi. I mean, he's a tremendously talented player, and I just wish he would have shown a little bit more remorse than the way he exited the floor the other night. But he's not hit his stride there in the year and a half he's been there. He looked like he was a better high school player. I got to do a lot of games, on TV when he played with Greg Rakestraw on the ISC Sports Network, and he just hasn't seemed to really click in that system. But there's no chemistry with that team, sadly, and they've got talent now. Talent usually gets you fired if they don't play well. So that's what I think some people, IU fans, are thinking. But Mike Woodson is part of that IU legacy and that Coach Knight family. And even though you've got someone, Brian Evans, who is extremely tight to the program, there's some grumblings in the background with some of the alumni.
Yeah, Don Fisher made some comments on the air, when that happened. Now he retracted some of those comments today, I see, but his first initial reaction was to make that comment. And usually your first initial reaction is what you really feel.
Oh,
right?
sure. Yeah. And then you say, oops, I didn't mean to say that.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, they've got issues in it. And the one thing I've noticed about Purdue, I was really impressed that Purdue did what they did to go into Assembly Hall. And, they put a whooping on them, plain and simple.
Coach King, I thought that's what you were going to say was the road team of the week, I think, has been Purdue last week.
Well, and you're right.
How convincingly
they won 2, didn't they?
Yeah, they won 2 on the road, which were huge, and Iowa was really playing well coming into that game, and the IU game. Gosh, that game was over before half. I know they cut it to 9, but overall, it was over by half.
Yeah, you're looking at Purdue 17-2, 6-2 in the league. Michigan plays, I think maybe tonight over at Purdue, right?
Tomorrow night. I'll be there. It's a 9:00 game tomorrow night.
That's tomorrow night. And Michigan has lost 6 out of their last 7. What's your take on Michigan here in the Big Ten?
Well, and I watched the last Monday. Jimmy was supposed to be on the show, and that was the day. That was Martin Luther King Day, and they had that day game and won there at Chrysler Arena, and then they had the Fab Five there for the first time since the 90s. And I get a text message that says, "Coach, probably not going to make it tonight." And then Jalen gets on their neck right next to him and goes, "Coach, he ain't making it tonight." Like that. So he was supposed to be on here talking with us about, some Michigan basketball and some of the things that went on down at Plano East. So we've got to put that one on, had to put that one on hold because I got out fabbed, I guess.
Now I know, so I know you're a great fan of basketball, Pete, and I'm pretty sure you will remember this. The South Bend Riley team of 1973.
Kirk Chambliss, T.D. Shelton, what a great team. Ricky King. Wow.
That's where I'm going, Ricky
He's
King.
throwing names.
Because Jimmy King is a South Bend guy. I mean, Jimmy King is from South Bend, and Ricky King is some kin to Jimmy King.
That's stepbrother.
And I said back in the day, Pete, Ricky King was the smoothest high school player I ever saw. Now my junior year, because T.D. Shelton had a thigh bruise and could only go about half speed, we beat them in the sectional semifinals. And then Jimmy Webb and Steve Austin beat us in the sectional championship game, and they go downstate that year. But Ricky King was as good as they had, man.
Well, it's ironic. I just had lunch last week with David Magley. Magley lives right down the road from me here in Westfield, the Carmel, Westfield area. And Mags, we were talking about all the great players of the 70s.
Oh, boy.
I'm lucky enough to be inducted in the Hall of Fame with Jimmy Webb this year, who should have been in way earlier before me. That's for darn sure. Way earlier before a lot of players. But the 70s in South Bend, I mean, no one those players were so darn good. Except, what year did you graduate, Heck?
74.
Yeah, Rochester beat you 72-47 that year. But
well, it's because you had Neil Beamendorfer. Stop. Neil was 7'6".
Neil Beamendorfer.
Oh, dear.
Neil was 7'6". I guarded him and was biting his kneecaps. By the way,
I know. I remember you had Sheebish and you. I remember those guys.
Yeah. No, we had, and we ended up to be about a 500 team. But that's the year Bob Donewald left. Bob Donewald left at the end of my junior year, and Coach D went to IU with Aber and Laz. And then a guy named Sam Skerich came in, and it was different,
Different, yeah.
Donewald was the best, right?
No, Joe.
And I remember for warm-ups at Rochester, they brought like a zebra in a case or something, and would set them on the floor, right?
Stuffed animal.
A stuffed zebra.
There you go.
You betcha. No. We were 20-0 that year. Got beat in the sectional final by Akron, 91-89.
Oh man!
Hey, now where's Scotty Newcomb fit in those stories? I know Newcomb and his wife.
Scott was 2 years behind me. He was a sophomore reserve guard my senior year. He's now the athletic director down at Pekin,
Eastern Pekin,
but he retired as a coach. He's just the athletic director now. But yep.
because I know him from the Bill Titus. Titus and I are pretty good friends, so I keep he married his sister Laura. So
Hey, I'm just going to go down some Indiana
Laura
colleges here
legend.
and
Yes.
give their records, and maybe we can make some comments relative from the MAC. Ball State 1-5 in league play, 9-9 overall. Last year, Michael Lewis, and he had Peyton Sparks last year too, and obviously Peyton Sparks leaves to go to IU, plays 3 or 4 minutes a game when Ware is healthy, but obviously there's a lot more money involved. But I thought Michael would have them rolling a little bit better in the league.
well, I've seen them play a couple of times. The team I was going to jump to is Indiana State. They were on TV yesterday. Watched them a little bit, and they've been. I think saw something in the Indianapolis paper. They had Indiana State as like the second best team in the state.
Well, yeah, no, they're 16-3. They're 7-1 in the Missouri Valley and 16-3. You got any thoughts on either Ball State or Indiana State, Pete?
Yeah, I thought Ball State would be a little better this year, despite Sparks leaving. Muncie. Michael does a great job. Michael works him to death. I've seen him play a couple of times this year. It's still, the MAC. Only one team's going to make it. So the bottom line is you're probably going to get a low seed going to the MAC tournament, and you got to win that MAC tournament because they'll only get one team.
Well,
Indiana State, I went to the Michigan State game. I was up there, and they got in terrible foul trouble against Michigan State. They were playing with them the whole game, though. And I watched some of that game yesterday. That second half, Indiana State looked really good.
Mm-hmm. I thought so too.
Yeah.
And when you talk about teams out of the MAC now, those are the teams that are getting hurt by the most in the transfer portal, the NIL, because if you're a big time player in the MAC, other schools are going to come poach you, and you're going to make more money, a la Carson Steele, who was the great running back at Ball State. UCLA comes calling. He's got long blonde hair. He's a surfer boy. He goes out to the West Coast, makes a lot more money.
He's Christian.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that's exactly what he is.
But I don't know if you saw that. He's going pro.
Yeah. I saw that. My nephew. My nephew Joey Hecklinski was the running backs coach at Ball State. He just took the head coaching job at Goshen High School. So
I saw that. Congratulations! I saw that.
So no, we have another Heck roaming the sidelines in the ACC. Notre Dame 2-5 in league play, 7-11. It's going to take Micah some time just to get his players. To get his players.
Front court. Yeah, no front court. Trying really hard to get some bigs. He actually was at the Iowa City West game Friday night, where my godson Jack McCaffrey was playing. They played Linmar, which is where the Bohannons are from. And Micah's looking at Jack McCaffrey, who's a junior this year, Fran's youngest son. He's 6'8", but he needs help in the front court. His guards are set with his son and with Marcus. And, I don't know if Imes will stay from Zionsville, but he's getting to play a little bit this year. But, man, this is the Big East.
No, I know.
The ACC. Wow.
Yeah, the ACC. And speaking of the Big East, Pat, you'll want to comment on this. Butler 3-5 in league play, 12-7. They got off and played well early, but they're taking their lumps now with that, right?
Reality has set in. I was down at Hinkle this weekend and saw the DePaul game, and they just took care of business. And I thought they were doing real good. The kid from St. John's, the transfer from St. John's, really has been a difference maker for them.
Yeah, and they take care of DePaul, and poor Tony Stubblefield gets fired today, man. What's this? Come on, Thad.
Yeah, but Thad's got them playing big time defense. They defend like Big Ten schools do, which you have to do that to play in the Big East, because those referees Saturday, they swallow their whistle. That's for sure.
Yeah, they've been very inconsistent. Being down here, I see Butler a lot, and they're playing a lot better than they were last year. Don't get me wrong, but they brought in like 10 new players.
Yes, they have a lot of new people.
That's a challenge to try to get 10 new players together in one season. I hope they peak in the tournament.
We're hoping.
They had one quality win. They got Marquette,
Yeah.
which was a big win.
That was a big win 2 weeks ago. Sure was. Yeah. They won at Marquette. Now they play Villanova at home Saturday. So that one, let's keep an eye on, see how that one goes.
And back in the Missouri Valley, Evansville 2-6 in league play, and 11-8. But it seems like when they let Marty Simmons go, and McCarty didn't get the job done. I mean, it seems like the relevance in Evansville basketball is kind of gone out a little bit.
Right.
It has, and now you've got 2 Division I schools in the same city.
Yes.
You've got Southern Indiana's in there, and this is their first year Division I basketball.
And it's a bigger school enrollment wise than Evansville is.
Yeah, it's
'Cause
not
it's a
private.
state school. Yeah, it's a state school.
Yeah.
Valpo, 2-6, 6-13.
Roger's first year. Roger Powell Jr.'s first year. We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Give him a chance, right?
Where's Homer? I mean, where's Homer when you need him, right? Where's Homer and the boys? I'm just saying.
They're out in Scottsdale.
They're out in Scottsdale.
Yeah, Grand Canyon, right? Enjoying
They're
life.
having a great year, by the way. You know, yeah, they're like 17-2, Grand Canyon.
Yeah, and of course you know those guys. I mean, they're great guys. They know how to coach. I mean, Bryce is amazing. I mean, I'm sure Homer could still run his own Division I program now.
He could. He's got Eddie Schilling out there to help him too.
Oh, he's got the chill out there.
He got the chill out there with him. Yeah.
Oh man, that's great. So I got to tell you this story. I mean, I don't know if Eddie's watching this show or if he ever, but Eddie's at Logansport.
I got a couple comments when you have a second.
Okay. So
on.
Eddie's at Logansport. And the week before we play him, Logansport plays Muncie Central. And, I mean, just out of the blue, I get a letter in the mail, and Logansport beats Muncie Central. Logansport shoots 40 free throws. Muncie shoots 4. And I get a letter, and it says, I mean, I don't even know who it's from, but it says, the best man in Eddie's wedding is reffing your game against Logansport on Friday night. So, I mean, I get letters like that a lot. You did too, and, coaching high school basketball. So before the game starts, I'm talking to Eddie. I said, Eddie, here's the deal. I said, was this guy the best man in your wedding? Heck, I don't even know the guy. Heck, no, he was not the best man at my wedding. Well, sure enough, they shoot 40. We shoot 6. It's two more than Muncie, so I'm not that bad. I said, Eddie, if there's any truth to this, I'm coming looking for you after the game. And I swear to God, you and I will get in a fist fight in the hallway. If there's any truth to this. And he goes, heck, come on, heck. So we get beat by 1, and we were good. And I run back to Eddie's office on a dead sprint after the game. I knock on the office door, and I said, where's Eddie? One of his assistants come to the door. And he goes, Coach, you're not going to believe this, but Eddie had a family emergency. He had to get out of here real quick, man.
I bet he did.
Well, I do know that wasn't his best man. Kenny Bear, KB was his best man.
Oh, I know. Kenny Bear is a great guy. Yeah. Great player, too. Yeah. Great player. But Eddie just has done everything in basketball, man, from the NBA to the NCAA to high school. Just a great basketball mind.
Sure is.
So then we go to IUPUI, man. I mean, can that ever get squared away? 2-8 in the league, 6-15 overall.
No, they don't.
I mean, I don't know.
Serious, unfortunately, they don't take that job serious. I think Matt Crenshaw is going to make it through the year, but I've had several players play there. And Aaron Brennan was the best one of them all. And
he was a great player
there. But I thought when they got Jason Gardner, there was a shot, but unfortunately, Jason didn't last. And now they're just kind of holding on until they build an on-campus gym, an arena.
Oh, I agree.
I mean, it's hard to get excited going. I love the fairgrounds; they've done a great job with it, but it's not even close to the campus. It's too far. There's no on-campus facility, and until they do that, I don't think they're going to be very good.
I mean, you got a guy who's an assistant coach, right?
See, Antoine Banks is one of my guys, and he's he's the assistant.
Sure.
And he and the coach were both assistants for Gardner.
Right.
And then he left, and they both left. Now they've come back. Right. So, and I just remember he told me some stories about that first year, but now they're into year 3, and like you said, they're struggling.
And then Purdue Fort Wayne. I mean, 4-5 in their league, 13-7 overall. I mean, they're having a nice year.
John Kaufman does a really good job. He had one of my players, Matt Holba, that had a really nice career there when he transferred back from Lehigh and was an all-conference player. He does a really, really nice job there. And again, though, not an on-campus facility. They do play some games at home, but they play some games at the Coliseum too.
Most of them at the Coliseum. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go through the Crossroads League here real quickly, and people that don't understand NAIA basketball, they're
missing out on it. They're missing it.
Great teams, and some of these teams could play at a lower Division I level and be really successful. Scotty Moore at Grace got the number one team in the country, 8-0, 18-0 overall. Got a 6'10" post player at Grace College. Got great players. I've seen him play. The Crossroads League basketball is good freaking basketball.
Yeah, big game this Wednesday. Grace and Bethel play at the White Camp Center.
Yeah,
no doubt from a couple days ago or a couple weeks ago, whatever.
Yeah, and Steve Draven at Bethel 6-2, 15-3 overall. Drew Lutz.
The Lutz kid came back from Austin, Texas.
Yeah, and Drew Lutz. I've seen great players. I've seen guys get into jump shots and use their legs. I don't think I've ever seen anybody better than Drew Lutz explode and get up in the air, whether he's from 10 feet or whether he's from 28 feet, and just be as good of a shooter as he is.
Yeah, I watched their game last week when they got beat at Marion. And I'm amazed at how well he elevates. But yeah, that league, we're talking about Marion, a little down here this year for St. Francis. But Indiana Wesleyan again is just tougher than nails. But that Grace team, I've seen them play twice. And you're talking about the Malone kid, Prairie Heights kid. He's a Prairie Heights kid.
Yeah, no, I couldn't believe that when I saw that.
Yeah, he's doing great.
Yeah.
And the Moore boy, Scotty is the head coach, Matt, the head coach of Warsaw. Right together there. Well, it's like a fairy book deal, man. It's amazing. Greg Tonigal at Indiana Wesleyan, 8-1, 17-2 overall.
And he has people that want to go there. He is recruiting so much.
He had a McDonald's All-American 2 years ago. Kid transferred 6'10", kid from Kansas.
Yeah,
exactly. Indiana Wesleyan because he liked his style of basketball, the faith-based program, which is awesome. And that league is by far the best NAIA league in the country. And heck, you're right. I know they all had exhibition games against Purdue, IU, like Marion played Purdue or IU and stuff, and they got beat by 20-some points. But that's the Power Five. In that middle division and lower division, they can play with those teams. They're all about 3 inches shorter at every position, but skill-wise, they're better. I couldn't agree with him. Huntington.
Corey Alford at Huntington. You take Steve Alford's kid, kind of like mirrored Steve's deal when Steve went to Manchester College. Hail to the black and gold. Hail to victory. I know you know, Pete. I know you know.
But Corey Alford, the job offered to me first, Heck. I was the high school coach.
Yeah. No, Manchester High School. I knew that.
Yeah, and they said, "Do you have any interest in this?" I said, "No, I really like coaching high school." And then luckily Steve had got cut by the Mavericks and took over for Pat Cunningham. Yeah.
Yeah. No. At that time, at that time, it was Ron DeCarlos who was the head coach from St. Bonaventure, and got sick at the beginning of the year.
That's
and
right.
Bill Robinson was the president of Manchester. Just a wonderful guy. But Corey Alford coaching at Huntington. Huntington's got two guards that I think are phenomenal guards, and they're both. One's maybe 6'1", the other one's maybe 5'11", and they're phenomenal guards. And to me, when Bethel plays and their place isn't sold out or packed, because people have no idea the quality of basketball.
They don't know any better.
Those places should be packed if you want to watch basketball.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And in town, we've got IUSB, we've got Holy Cross that are playing in the Chicagoland League. And they've been in the tournament as well. They've been putting 3 and 4 teams in the big tournament.
Yeah. So Corey Alford lost the 6'8" kid to Evansville this year. He transferred up. The Ben Humrick kid
Yes.
Cliff over at Tipton.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, Humrick moved up and played Division I. He's their leading scorer. He's Evansville's leading scorer in Division I.
Wow.
So then you go D3, Anderson 8-2 leading that league. The Heartland Collegiate Athletic Conference, Hanover in third place. I mean, Hanover's always been a great basketball school. Great basketball players. Manchester's is back playing better, 10-7.
Yeah.
Franklin 9-8, 7-3 in the league. Rose-Hulman 6-4. I mean, Earlham has not got it figured out, but they haven't got it figured out for a long time. But that's great basketball in that D3 league. Right?
It is. It is. It's a great league, but notice they don't play NAIs because they can't beat them.
No, they can't. They don't. I mean, they don't have the athleticism to compete with those NAIA guys. And those
it's the financial aid part.
Yeah,
of
no,
it.
exactly.
Yep.
They're. I mean, they're on scholarship. The last one I want to talk about, and you know why I'm going to talk about this. You should know why I'm going to talk about this. The American Conference, man, Florida Atlantic. I gotta go by my guy, Dusty May, man. 5-1 in the league, 15-4 overall. Now I say Dusty May because at some point in time it may swing back to that, to Hoosier land, to Dusty May, right?
There's some speculation that this IU is an awful big job for a first-time head coach who's had a great run, but Dusty's done a great job there, and he's an IU protege. He's from what, Eastern? Hey,
he's an Eastern Comet. Come on, man. He's an Eastern Comet.
Oh, no, he's a Thunderbird, Eastern Green.
Eastern Green. Yeah.
Because remember we talked to Jamie last year.
Yeah, Jamie Hudson.
Yeah, Jamie
That's
Hudson.
Eastern of Green County by Bloomfield.
Yeah, it's down Bloomfield. Sure is.
Yeah. So
I've been there before.
Well, I have been too.
In my Madison days.
So I'm always watching Dusty's team because there's always a lot of talk. Hey, so let's jump into some high school hoops here.
Yeah, we need to shift gears and do some high school. One of the things I was wanting to do, Pete, is get you and get some of your Indianapolis perspective because you've been doing games down there. But the one thing that we've looked at so much, we look at 4A, and 4A is just dominated by the Metro teams in that area. I'm looking here, and you've got to go. You could still even say Greenfield, is ranked 7th, but you've got to go to Lake Central. They've got them at 5. They're undefeated, but Richmond's number 9. I was surprised you got Richmond, who has been awful for how long? 10 years.
Yeah, but Billy Wright's there now, right?
Yeah, Billy Wright's there. Yeah, Billy Wright's there. His brother Curtis is superintendent.
Yeah, exactly.
So Curtis was the head coach at Ben Davis. Now is the superintendent, and Billy's got they just don't play very good competition. Billy will tell you that. And they lost their first game. They were 16-0, lost their first game. But those two top teams up there, they are both really strong in this area. Garrett Weiniger coaches the Fisher team. Garrett is a Rochester High School graduate. And on the state runner-up team for Rochester. And Lawrence North had a 6'8" kid move in from out of state, McGrew, that you throw him with Brandon Miller, and then you've got great guards and Kobe Bowles and Xavier Robinson, who's a Division I player. He's been offered mid-majors already. Those are the two best talented teams in the state. Ben Davis isn't too bad this year. It's just they're still learning how to play as a varsity team because they were on the JV last year. Ben Davis had 8 seniors.
8 seniors.
Yeah, and they're learning to play for another coach because, as we know, Don Carlisle got jammed up a little bit. He's okay to coach next year, but their assistant coach is coaching this year. Now, go back to Lawrence North, Pete. My guy Jimmy Etherington back on the bench for Lawrence North. That's got and if you talk to Jimmy, I mean Jimmy's synonymous with winning, man. Come on. And it's really cool to see him back on the bench.
Yeah, I would see him last year doing some games that he'd be sitting up at the top of the gym watching, and you could just tell he was getting an itch. And they have a really good staff there. Brandon Sorrell was their varsity assistant.
Really?
I don't remember Brandon, but Brandon played at Goshen High School and
Mike Sorrell's kid. Mike Sorrell's kid.
Yeah, Mike Sorrell's son. He played against me when I was a coach at Penn, and so they have a good staff. Mike is an IU guy, their head coach. He was a manager for Coach Knight, and he's got them really buying in. They're playing good defense, and Fisher's has their two best guards are freshmen, Jason Gardner's son and Danny Zachary's son. Heck, I don't know if you knew that.
Yes, I did know that. And if you throw Harrelson back on that team, that's a dream team, right? If you throw Harrelson back on there.
Yeah. Now they had a 6'6" kid move in from Philadelphia or somewhere out of state. I believe it was Pennsylvania, but the Gardner kid, and he's no relation to Jason. Keenan Gardner has really helped that team. He's a stud. He's an all-star most likely.
Well, do Fishers and Lawrence North, will they play each other? I know they're in different conferences. Are they on the? I haven't looked to see if they're on schedule. Scott,
Scott's got the schedule up there. Yeah, they play on February 13th.
There you go.
Yep.
Maybe you'll have that game, huh?
I don't know if that's something that Rick Strauss scheduled for us or not.
Might be one of your games of the week.
Well,
Westfield any good? Westfield any good, Pete?
Westfield's very good. They have one of the top point guards in the state in Trey Buchanan. His dad's the general manager of the Pacers, Chad Buchanan. And they've got another Hafner. He's a sophomore. They're very, very good. And I don't know if you heard, they have a 6'8" kid that came in from Oak Hill Academy, who's a senior. He's from New Zealand, and that's all they needed was a big guy because they have no size after him.
Yeah. Now, so Shane Sumter, who is the head coach, was an assistant coach for me at Anderson. I don't know, for probably 6 or 7 years.
Yeah,
just a great kid. Played at Frankton. The Calvin Bailey era and all that kind of stuff. I mean, great young coach.
Yeah, he's really got that program going. Obviously, coaching Mr. Basketball 2 years ago in Braden Smith, and his son Heck is a freshman who got in the varsity game the other night against Tri-West. So he's got a freshman son who's a nice player. Yes.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know. Garin Catholic, man, number 2 in 3A. I mean, your guy Bob Allen. I mean, coaching his brains out, huh?
Bobby's doing a really good job. That should be a little asterisk beside them because, their point guard broke his leg in football. Wide receiver Jack Cherry, and he's just coming back. Played his third game against Brebeuf the other night, and Brebeuf had a very good game. They've got Evan Haywood, who's probably an all-star, going to Butler. He's already committed to Butler, and they could make another run. They could. They got to get past Brebeuf in the sectional. They just lost to him the other night. And it's a very good sectional, but those are the two best teams probably in their sectional. But Bobby's doing a super job.
They got Brian Cardinal's son on that roster, don't they?
Bryson is a 6'7" junior.
He played last year.
He gets better every year. Bryson does. He's got the Moran's kid, Paul Moran's son, who played for Steve Alford at Southwest Missouri and played at Terre Haute South. North. But, they've got good size, 6'7", 6'8". And if their guards can play well, they have a good guard in Robert Sorensen, really good guard. He's going to play somewhere, Division III or NAI. So they've got a really nice team. But Brebeuf beat them the other night, so right now they've got the bragging rights. And I've seen a lot of good 3A teams. They're probably two of the best right there, Brebeuf and Garin.
Talk about your time at Garin Catholic, because I know that, I mean, that was a really special time for you. And I mean, you had so many great kids that not only were they great basketball players, but they were great young men. And I know you continue to have good relationships with them today.
Well, I was very lucky. I was very lucky that Eric Anderson, who was the AD, former IU player, I went down and I interviewed for a job in your conference and think I was going to get it. And I told my wife, and she said, we are not going to move there. If you want to be the coach there, you can drive 100 miles round trip. Go tell Eric that will be, you can start the program there at Garin. So it was really cool starting something from scratch with 88 freshmen that first year and adding a JV team the next year. And then with no juniors playing in the state tournament the next year. And it was really, really cool. And you got to set your own culture. And everywhere I'd been at, Heck, before, I was pretty much taken over for a Hall of Fame coach or a legend. I mean, from Dave Nicholson to Bob Hetty, both Hall of Famers. And, when you try to change and put your own style in, it's not the easiest thing to do. And at Garin, it was, is my way, or I'm going to say the highway, but it's my way, or we're not going to let you
or
play.
The highway. Or the highway.
You were starting from scratch. Like you said, you got to start the program from ground zero. and build it up to, when, like you said, your first years you were 1A, then you were 2A, and then next thing you know, you're playing with the big boys.
Yeah, that 2012 we moved up to 3A. That was the first year, and we won the state that year.
Yeah, I remember seeing you. I was down at Madison and saw you play in the Seymour semi-state. That was fun.
Yeah, but as you're looking at that schedule there, that Carmel team was 4-17. I started Josh McRoberts as a freshman, and I started Benny Myers as a freshman. And that group was really going to be good, but that year we still were undermanned. I want to thank Coach Hecklinski. One year I think he threw a game at Carmel one year because he got a technical in the last minute of the game, I think, and we were able to pull one out against Anderson. But
I didn't do that, did I?
Who were the referees?
Yeah,
were they were probably some Rochester guys, weren't they?
No, they were. They were the best man in your wedding, right? Come on, Pete.
No, neither one of us are very happy, but you kind of winked at me when you got that technical, like, hey, you guys deserve to win this one. And
I knew that. And I think coaching back then, and I don't know how it is today. I mean, I've been out of it only for a couple of years, but my time in Mishawaka certainly wasn't the good old days that we had at Anderson or at Edgewood or at Wapahani. But we had a lot of respect for coaches back then. And we knew when a coach was doing a great job, was coaching his brains out, or we knew when a coach was just a buster and he shouldn't have that job. and guys that we respected, it was a lot of fun between us, man.
Yeah, always enjoyed that. I always remember our 5-star days. I love fun.
Oh, are you kidding me?
But Coach King and I had a few games too.
That's right. You know what? You were very helpful my first year up here at Adams because you had a very good team. You had the Killer Bees or something the year before, and then you came over and Pete, I can't remember what he did. He put some subs in, and next thing you know, we caught up, and I think we won the game. And our kids were just ecstatic because it had been years since they had beaten Penn. But you got to remember that at that time period when I came up here, there were a lot of Penn ball players that used to go to Adams because they were getting ready to close Adams, and we lost a lot of players. And if it wasn't the players, the parents were Adams alum, and they were the ones that moved to Penn like in the early middle 80s to get out of South Bend. And now they had kids, and the kids were Penn players, but mom and dad were Adams people. So you had parents that grew up together that were sitting on opposite sides of the gym on Friday night.
Well, and I've said this publicly, Penn was the best job I believe I ever had. I mean, those 4 years there, they gave you everything to be successful. And, one of my there's 2 losses that I don't sleep at still. I mean, I still lose sleep over. And that second year at Penn when we were in the regionals playing East Noble and Marty held the ball.
Oh,
and we got up 35-21 with 2 minutes to go in the third quarter and scored 2 points the rest of the game. And Nick David, they had 2 Indiana All-Stars. Nick David got fouled mysteriously by Brad Beckman with 4 seconds to go, makes both free throws. We lose by 1. That we had some things going at Penn. That last year I was there, we started 2 freshmen that year, Zach Hill and Andrew White. And then my first guys off the bench were freshmen. And Dean did a good job with them and took them to the state finals.
I would say that was the team that Dean took. Yep, Dean took them to the state finals 3 years later.
We had things really building there. I liked Penn. I got to teach accounting, and it was a great place to be. It's just that I got married and I needed to move back to Carmel, and Carmel wasn't a great job at the time. It was a tough job.
So let me ask you this question now. I mean, I've broadcast probably 35 games so far this year, and my schedule last week, I watched Robbie Berger's team score 31 points and hold Penn to 28.
I saw that score.
Game. And then I see Mishawaka go over to Northridge and get beat 40-31. I'm seeing a lot of teams that either can't score or they need the shot clock. What's your thought on that?
Well, I talked to Coach Radiker. Scott Radiker was my assistant when he got to Indiana before he started McCullough, and I knew it was going to be a slow down game. I was a little surprised with the Marion Penn score, but Barrick has been able to. He knows how to do that a little bit too. To your question, people want to be entertained now. I think we have to put the shot clock in.
I agree 100%.
I mean, it's just kids want to be interested. They want to be, given the opportunity to score. And, quite frankly, the Carmel years, we should have slowed it down, but I just don't play that way. I want it to be fun. And yeah, we took our lumpings. We played great teams like the Anderson Indians and stuff, but I'm just not someone that would have fit that mold. I learned from Coach Rhodes and Coach Hadaway. Those are the two only varsity coaches I worked for. And it was just not the way I was brought up. Even Coach Drew at Bethel, we were patient, but we certainly didn't want to hold it 10 times. And I think a shot clock everybody would benefit. The flip-flop of that gives more opportunity for human error. Did the clock start on time? Did the clock not start on time? A lot of smaller schools, their scorer's bench doesn't have another spot for someone to sit there and run a shot clock. And so it is a big cost thing for smaller schools. When we went to the 3-point line in 1987, I was sitting in New Orleans at the National Federation of High Schools meeting talking about rules. And they said, in 10 years, the shot clock will come. We'll get the schools prepared. And Indiana is one of the few states that hasn't adopted the shot clock yet.
Yeah. Well, I was looking at that, Pete. We've got 27 states right now that are using the clock in some capacity, and there are, I think, 17 that use it for every game.
Yeah.
And it didn't say how far down do they go, JV, freshman, but you're right. The most important person at the scorer's table now becomes the shot clock operator, not the game clock, the shot clock.
It does. So it has more human error element, and again, it's just another thing. But the times are people don't enjoy, and they're not. You can say class basketball, all this stuff about ruin the crowds. Our crowds are great down here this year, except at the schools that take a lot of passes before they are told they can shoot. I'll leave it at that.
No.
You're exactly right,
and I agree with you 100%. When I was coaching at Ball State, and Pat and I were talking about this before we came on the air with Rick Majerus and Dick Hunsaker, when the shot clock got to 7, and of course, and Rick Majerus would do this because, this was what was on his mind. When the shot clock got to 7, everybody on the bench called butter. So everybody knew that we got to get a shot up now. It's butter time. And some of the funnest things that I ever watched, or some of the best moves I ever saw, were Chandler Thompson taking a butter shot and making a creative move and not getting taken out of a game because it was butter. It was butter time. And I think high school basketball would really, really like that. And you would really see some creative offensive plays made because shot clock's going down. You got to get a shot. You take a bad one, you ain't coming out of the game because you had to take a butter shot. So I think it would be great for Indiana.
Yeah,
I would have scored 1,000 points in my career if I didn't have to worry about getting taken out of the game.
Yeah, who was your coach? I can't remember.
And that was
either.
And that was your mom's fault. Your mom should have put that on him, big boy.
Yeah. I've got a couple texts to share. Monica in South Bend says about that joke that you told earlier. She said that joke was going around when the Dead Sea was still sick.
When the Dead Sea was Monica, my sweet
Monica.
When the Dead Sea was only
great comment from Monica in South Bend.
Monica.
Hang up on Monica.
Get her off.
Hang up on her.
She just texted me.
That's great. Hey, Pete, we really appreciate you taking some time out of your busy schedule. I know with games, I know your work schedule. I know you're on the road a lot, and when you get a chance to be at home to hang with your wife, but we really appreciate you coming on and sharing about an hour of good stories with us. You're the best, man. Congratulations on your induction into the Hall of Fame. It's an honor that is befitting to you. It's tremendous for you, and you've been great for the game of basketball, man. So I want to thank you for spending some time with us, man.
Thank you. You're going to tell the story about when my fiance at the time came out and thought that she was going to meet Ron Hecklinski, a male stripper. Remember that one?
I have not. No, I have not told that one.
Yes,
we should probably not tell that one.
Let's wait till we get off the air.
Yeah.
It was a complete joke, but I said, yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah. That was very good. Out in Pittsburgh in the Sewell Center.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Well, listen, man, you're the best. Tell everybody down south or in central Indiana we said hi. And again, thanks for coming on, Pete.
Oh, anytime, guys. Enjoy it. Thank you. Thanks,
all
Coach.
right.
Gang.
I will I'll probably see you at the state finals here in a couple of weeks for the girls.
I'm not going to do the girls, I don't think.
I will be there. I will be there if somebody from this area is down there, like a Fairfield or somebody like that. Maybe a South Bend, Washington, if they can figure out how to put everything together. We'll see.
Yeah, I usually start doing some college tournaments then that we do on ISC.
Okay.
So thanks.
Okay.
Though.
Yeah.
Good to see you guys.
Man. Nice seeing you, Pete.
No, Jim Shannon, I'm sorry he wasn't on the show with us. Dang it.
Yeah, who knows? He's probably technology deprived. He's probably trying to. How do you click on this thing? How do you get in here?
Yeah, they didn't teach him that at Anderson. I don't know how, but they did.
Well, it's down in New Albany. I don't know what that's all about. He's coaching at Charlestown now. He's an assistant at Charlestown for one of his former players, and they had to play at New Albany a couple weeks ago. So I was going to ask him how that went.
Who's the AD at Charlestown?
Chad Gilbert.
Chad Gilbert. How about that?
Yeah, he was at Jeff when I was at Madison, so we had a chance to coach against each other.
He got thrown out against us in the first quarter at the Richmond Holiday Tournament. His wife had to coach. Remember that? His wife was varsity assistant. She was a great player.
Yeah.
She had to coach the rest of the game. He got thrown out in the first quarter, and Chad Bolzer had to get the cops to remove him from the gym.
He's a big dude too. If he didn't want to go, he's huge.
He's a really good guy too. But I think Ed Schilling's best man was refereeing the game.
Well, I mean, to hear that the KB was his best man, it had to be somebody in the wedding party then at least. I will not divulge the name on this show, but I'll tell you who it was some other time, and you can tell me if there's a connection. All right, man.
Okay, yeah, for sure.
All right, man.
Thanks,
good talking to you, Pete.
Thank you. Really enjoyed it. Thank you.
All right.
See you, Pete. So when you talk about Indiana high school basketball or just Indiana basketball, Pete Smith has grown up in it. He loves it. When I first met Pete, he said, saw you play against Rochester. You were 3 for 7 from the field and 2 for 2 from the free throw line.
He knows. And, I've got my connection with him originally was the late 80s when he got that Manchester job. I was still in Texas coaching. Mm-hmm. And the Warsaw people flew me up here to interview for the freshman job that he had just left to become the head coach at Manchester. And something happened like that. Whoever was supposed to retire didn't retire. So I ended up going back to Texas and coaching one more year down there. But they did help me get the North Miami job. So I don't know whether to tell them thank you or not.
Hey,
but
listen.
It did get me back in the state back in the 80s. I appreciate that. We've had a great show.
No, this is a great show tonight. I want to thank, and we need to do a couple more sponsors. Tony Letcher again with Health Markets Insurance. Your health insurance or Medicare, get a hold of Tony at 574-307-8882. Hahn Funeral Home, they're the best. If those services are what you need and you have a loss, please get a hold of the great people at Hahn Funeral Home, owned by Pat Hahn and his family at 574-255-1474, located at West A Street, Frick's Driving. A great place, right?
Yep, and they're good people, and they're the main driving school here in town. So if you want to get your kid to learn how to drive, that's where you go.
Black Sedan Band. So we will tell you next week's show will be at 6:30 from the Crow's Nest at Mishawaka High School. Because I'm doing a game at about 7:45 at Mishawaka. So we're just going to do our show.
Where are you going to be this week? Where are you going? You got a game tomorrow?
I got a game tomorrow. I'm going to go to Fairfield to watch Mishawaka play at Fairfield. Now, Fairfield's won 9 in a row.
They're pretty good.
They've won 9 in a row, so they're a good team. Wednesday, I have a doubleheader at IUSB with both the women's game and the men's game playing against Holy Cross. Thursday, I have a night off. Friday, I'm going to be at Penn, Riley at Penn.
I will be too.
And then Saturday, I'll be doing a doubleheader at Holy Cross. So my schedule is rolling.
Busy man.
I'm sure yours is too, right?
Yeah, it is. Tomorrow night I'll be at Adams. I've got a girl boy doubleheader, Goshen at Adams. I get to go back to the Hadaway Shack. And then Friday I will also be over at Penn, with our video crew and that'll game be for first place.
Yeah, no, I know.
Riley at Penn Friday night.
Well, it'll be a tie because Marion beat Penn.
Yeah.
So Penn does have a loss.
Riley has 0 losses. So
yep. Alex Daniel.
People are chasing them
against Barrett Kuhlman. It should be a great game. Hey, listen, a great show tonight. Thanks to Pete Smith for coming on and spending an hour with us talking about hoops. Thanks for spinning the dials back home, Scott in Texas, and making our show as good as you always make it. Anything else? We got any more calls, questions?
Good.
We good?
Couple YouTube comments. Here, I wanted to touch 2 more things before I let you guys go. The one sponsor, Melreg, maelreg.com. /IND Coaches Corner gets you 10% off hoodies, quarter zips, polos. It's good stuff, and it's not very expensive. It's good quality, good stuff. Go check that out. And then we got magicmind.com.
Magic? Are you kidding me? Magic?
You forgot?
No, I forgot, and that's why I need Magic.
I
forgot. Magic Mind is the best, man. It comes in little shots. Take it. It helps your memory. It just helps a lot of areas of your body as you get a little bit older. It chills you out a little bit, and it's good for you. My liver doctor told me, he said, hey, man, where can I get this? This looks like good stuff. So magicmind.com/Ron, 20% off.
That's right. Scott, lead us with a song on the way out of here.
Well, here, hang on. We still got one more topic to cover.
I'm sorry.
So it's been a big thing in college basketball lately that there have been coaches that seem to find their way onto the floor a little bit too far. There's a couple video clips that I'm going to show on the stream, which is why you should be watching us live. If you're just listening to the audio podcast, go to our YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube, type in Coach's Corner with Heck and Gang. It's the only result that pops up. It's great to be the one and only. So here's one of Travis Ford, who I forget who he coaches, but a ball gets passed into the corner and he basically swipes at it, trying to play defense. So there's one. Here's Chris Collins last year grabbing Fletcher Lawyer from Purdue before a press break play. The video looks like crap in that one, but you get the point. Here's Shaka Smart not too long ago, straight up playing defense in the corner.
A 9-0 run.
And then here's Bruce Pearl, who will be at the bottom left of
Bruce
the
can't get the
screen.
stance like that. He'd hurt himself.
Yeah, Bruce is a little too old and overweight, I think. But here's Bruce Pearl. Again, the opposing player actually runs into him on this one, so this is a good one.
The V logo. He's going to do that from time to time. He makes them too. You gotta respect that as we're slowing things down now.
And then finally, we have a shot of Archie Miller getting way too up in the grill of an opponent, trying to shoot a three. No video, but as you can see, he's very much playing defense. It's
toes are behind the line. If he had the ball,
yeah, if he had the ball, he'd be good. So as two former coaches, are these players in their rights to run over the coaches?
Yeah, I don't think there's any question that the players could do it, the officials could do it, but to me, and I was always a very demonstrative coach and a guy who was always into it and running up and down the sidelines. But to me, that stuff gets settled by the officials. And if an official sees it, it's an automatic warning. If it doesn't stop, then it's a technical. But to me, when the ball gets thrown up, and if that's the officials' court and that's the official's job to run that game.
It is. And Scott, you're talking to two guys that we were both walkers. We were both, that coach's box was, we rubbed the lines out.
What coach's
Purely
box?
a suggestion.
It was like in baseball, we were the guys that were scrubbing out those chalk lines for the batter's box.
Yeah, no, but when a ref told me, he said, hey, Heck, sit down or I'm going to bang you here. with a minute left in the game tie, I'm sitting down. But I mean,
so if a player makes contact with an opposing coach, that should be an immediate tee, shouldn't it? No warnings, no nothing.
Without question.
Yeah, and a lot of it has to do with the play. I was at Hinkle this weekend, and the people were screaming and yelling at the DePaul coach because he was 2 or 3 steps out on the floor.
Well, he got fired today, so that's why.
That's
what
good point.
happened.
But it was normally when the ball was at the other end of
town.
it was normally when the ball was at the other end of the floor. Now he definitely went baseline to timeline, and there were a couple of times he was on the wrong side of the timeline. But that is too.
Yeah.
But if you're coaching, the referees are going to kind of ignore you. But if you're chewing on them, you better get back in the coach's box.
So I don't care if you're coaching or what you're doing. You should never be on the floor.
Well, I agree.
You shouldn't be on the floor.
You see it a lot more in football. They've got a sideline warning now and everything like that.
Yeah, there should be something that the officials and they do that. It's in their power to say, get off the court, or this is going to happen.
And that could be happening. That's stuff the referees may get in his ear during a free throw.
That's stuff with Archie Miller standing right next to a shooter at 3-point line.
Yeah,
should never. Archie Miller maybe should have got thrown out of the game for that. Are you kidding me?
Did he affect the play here?
Well, it doesn't matter.
He did.
Yeah, it doesn't matter though if he doesn't affect the play. He is not allowed I'm a hypocrite.
What was the score?
I'm a hypocrite.
What was the score? If they were down by more than 10, then you're allowed to have a 6th player on the floor.
Yeah, I don't know, man, but I'm just saying that's the official's job to take care of it.
Maybe he was behind and the official felt sorry and they needed some extra defense. So.
Maybe the official.
We got one comment to throw up here.
All right.
It's from our favorite commenter, Q. Here, I'll read it for the people that aren't watching. Out on the floor that far, they're fair game to get ran over or warrant fouled. Had more than a few refs ask me to put a leash on coaches, not Heck, when he kept the scorebook.
Yeah, no, Q's kind because there was a lot of them on me. And Q's a big man. He's a big kid. He'd say, I got assistant coaches there, and there's Q sitting in the row behind me. Coach, sit down. Coach, sit down. Coach, sit down. And he was exactly right. And there were times that I just needed to freaking grow up and understand that I'm a coach and I'm not a freaking lunatic running on the sidelines trying to get a call here and there. But I agree 100%, man. The officials should control that. Hey, listen, man.
I'm getting
great
hungry.
Show.
Yeah.
I'm getting hungry. That burger staring me in the face. Great show tonight, big boy.
We did great.
And
appreciate it.
We will see you from the cave next Monday at 6:30. Black Sedan Band, rock it out, boys.
See you guys next week. Subscribe to the YouTube channel.